What's going on, everybody? GemMint here with today's new comic book day reviews. It's Wednesday, March 9th, and as always, gonna go through this week's books as spoiler-free as possible. I got all the PDFs early, and I got DC early, but I only have 3 DC books on my pull this week. We're gonna go through these, but I do want to thank Dynamite for sponsoring the video. Make sure to check out their new comics coming out today. You have Draculina issue 2, Red Sonja, Black, White, and Red issue 8, Elvira Meets Vincent Price issue 5, Evil Ernie issue 4, and Betty Page, The Alien Agenda issue number 1. Now, I did read the Draculina issue number 2. I read issue 1. I dug it. I really like the art style. I like the big heaven and hell scope storytelling, similar to what they're doing with Hell Sonja, although it's just focused on Draculina with her Freaky Friday type of body swapping situation. Big Belial devil kind of stuff going on here, so right up my alley. I'm digging Draculina. Issue 2, I do feel like, okay, now I'm a noob with this character, like I was hanging in with issue 1. Issue 2, I started to get a little bit lost with all the supporting cast, but still enjoyed it, and I still want to see what happens with issue 3. Moving on over to Image, we have Spawn issue 327. This one's by Rory McConville and Carlo Barberi. Spawn continually killing it week after week. The main Spawn title, we kind of got 2 things going on right now. Al Simmons teaming up with the Haunt. They're having their little team-up action. And then you have this whole clown gunslinger Spawn thing going on where Clown's trying to recruit the gunslinger. And it's starting to sound better and better. So kind of interesting. I can get a little confused with, okay, what's going on in Scorched, King Spawn, Gunslinger, regular Spawn. Luckily, all of the titles have been great, and the artwork is amazing, so it's just been worth it to read all of them. They all connect and tie in anyway. Then we have Lady Mechanica. This is issue number 3, I believe. Yeah, issue 3 by Benitez, Sotelo, and Heisler. I really dug this, man. I like they're going to the origins, flashing back to the Lady Mechanica as a child, as this half machine / cyborg / human, and like the crazy other kids and freaks and castaways that she's living with and being influenced by, and people being taken away, disappearing. It's got this like horror / gore element to it as well. The artwork is really good. I'm digging this series. I'd never read this before. I jumped on with issue 1, and issue 3 was the best one yet. And the last one I read from Image was Little Monsters by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. They just came off of, I believe, that Robin 3-part miniseries. And this was a great issue. It didn't disappoint. I mean, you have a monster creative team. I think it was black and white. It might have had some color. It had manga vibes in that sense of these kids just kind of roaming the street. And you get the sense that maybe that this is post-apocalyptic and that there's no other adults and it's just them, which kind of felt similar to that one Image book, Where's the Places They Will Go, or something like that. But this one just felt a little bit more cleaner with the lines and the inking and more of that manga black and white style. But yeah, definitely Jeff Lemire, Justin Nguyen, I'm down every time. Let's move on over to the DC comics that I read, and let's start with Batman and Detective Comics, cranking these out. Issue 1056. Amazing cover art here by Urban Rodriguez. So yeah, this whole new Arkham Asylum and even bringing the Scarecrow back, it kind of felt like, oh man, I'm so sick of the Fear State stuff, but a big return of a character in the main storyline, so hopefully we'll pick up and go in a new direction here. This was the only arc of Detective Comics that I didn't like over the last, 2 years of reading it. The backup story was really good. The backup story is House of Gotham by Rosenberg, Blanco, and Belair, which follows this kid growing up in the system, and now we're in the No Man's Land era, and he's like leading a faction of one of the gangs during this Batman period. So I like how they're kind of placing these little stories in these different eras of Batman for us to enjoy. Kind of cool little Easter eggs for that backup. Next up, we have The Joker. I think this is the penultimate issue number 13 by Tynion, Camicoli, Smith, and Prianto. You know what? I really did like this. This series has had a lot of ups and downs for me. The Vengeance stuff here was awesome, but something that happens with Vengeance at the end questions what's going on in continuity with a certain character that's happening in another title. But this kind of turned into Eat the Rich out of nowhere, right? That series from Boom. So that was kind of weird how this went from like, is Gordon going to be hired to kill Joker, or is Joker going to be eaten alive by rich, wealthy people? has a Punchline backup story. Punchline goes to trial for the crimes during the Joker War. Is she guilty or not guilty? The verdict is announced in this issue. No big deal. And the last one from DC is Trial of the Amazons. This is issue number 1. It's got a lot of creative teams because it's essentially 3 books teaming up. So you have, I think it's Stephanie Williams, Vita Ayala, Jones, Clunan, Conrad, Bragada, Patridge, Casagrande, Ferraro Jr., and Belair. So overall, I dug this, man. You know, this is the book that we continue the story of Diana Prince back alive, I guess for the first time since she came back in her own title. Then it's the return of Yara Flor and her tribe, like Wonder Woman's Themyscirian. Then you have Yara Flor, it's like Esquarian or something like that from Brazil. And then you have the Nubia tribe. So I'm not reading the Nubia stuff, but I'm familiar with the Wonder Woman and Yara Flor runs. And this is just combining all 3 of those. They're going to have this big tournament, feats of strength type of thing. I'll read issue 2. I don't know if I'm going to read all the tie-ins, though. It's kind of like a little mini DC event. Then moving on to Marvel. So yes, Marvel is the pick of the week, and I don't think it's what you expect it to be. We have Amazing Spider-Man issue 92. This is by Kelly Thompson as well, also with Jed McKay, Pincelli, and Galan. So this cover was the big tease at the end of last issue. They're stumbling on the Lizard, Dr. Kirk Connors, or is it? So you can see that it's like kind of a lighter reptile, has wings. That was pretty cool, tying it in with Morbius. It's painfully obvious that they're wrapping up this arc and getting ready to bring Peter Parker back as Spider-Man and tell Ben Reilly to take a hike. Hate the Beyond Corporation stuff, the other characters on the front, Misty Knight and whoever. But there was a lot of the time while reading this that I was like, this is fun. This is Spider-Man comic book fighting, a lot of good action. It can hold me over until the next arc comes. Speaking of holding over, Eternals is back with issue 10, finally. Kieran Gillen with Esad Ribic and Matthew Wilson. They took a little bit of a hiatus, and man, I don't know if the art suffered for that. This had some rough art with some of the facial features here. I think the Thanos aspect of this story is what's keeping me intrigued, keeping me interested, although they kind of nerfed him a little bit, I feel like. But an interesting concept on how Thanos can kill a Earthbound Eternal. Maybe 2 Eternals that he really doesn't like. I dug this issue. And then we have The Punisher. He's back with issue number 1 by Jason Aaron, Saez, Azaceta, and Stewart. So here's the thing about this. This is a controversial thing about changing the Punisher's emblem on his chest, right? So here's my quick take on that. If it's changed for good, for political reasons, that's whack. If it's changed for the context of this story, which was a dope-ass story, I'm cool with it. It's a one-off. Jason Aaron did the Punisher Max series, which I recently read the omnibus and did a review. Mind-blowing. Violence, gore, it's crazy. And this one comes out of the pages of Zdarsky's Daredevil Woman Without Fear, the Elektra as Daredevil story, which has been really well written, and comes out of that dealing with the Hand, Frank Castle working with the Hand, which is why he's wearing that costume. It was a awesome issue, man. It was a really good issue. If you read it just for what it is, if you start thinking about this happening and other reasons, I could see why somebody wouldn't like that. But the story, the art, self-contained, it was dope. Then we have Sabretooth issue number 2 by Laval, Kirk, and Barreto. Going in slightly more of a different direction than I thought we were going to go, which is cool. Keep us guessing. This all has to do with the fact that there are not supposed to be prisons in Krakoa. Sabretooth was the first exile, but instead of putting him in a prison, we're going to put him in a pit and put his mind in some type of matrix and keep him occupied while he just sits there on timeout. Hence, it's already a prison. So this is about other mutants on Krakoa that are breaking laws and being sent to the pit, being sent to prison, and the kind of, ethics behind that. Is that the right thing to do? And that's where this series is going, so pretty interesting. Next up, we have Captain Carter, issue 1 by McKelvey, Cresta, and Arciniega. I was going to skip this because I was like, I saw the What If. I did like the episode. Well, I don't need to read that again, but, I got it a little bit early. I had some time. I read it. The character is likable as hell, man. I like the character. This was not a play-by-play of the What If. This was a kind of looking from when she was thawed out of the ice. How did the world react to Britain's first superhero coming back after the war, and that whole like different perspective of it? It was really good, man. So if you have some extra money, extra time, pick it up. But I wouldn't recommend picking up Spider-Gwen Gwenverse issue number 1 by Tim Seeley along with Nisjima and Blee. Man, this was just so hard to like accept the reality of what I'm reading about, like the Gwen Stacy's from all the different multiverses, and one of them is Wolverine, and one of them is this, and they're doing the same thing with Doc Ock right now in the Devil's Reign spinoff, which I stopped reading that one. So it wasn't for me. Maybe if you're a real Spider-Gwen, Spider-Verse, everyone's Spider-Man is cool. Wasn't for me. Moving on to X-Men Legends, we have issue 12. This was a great issue, man. This felt like, I was reading modern books, and then all of a sudden I'm reading a Bronze Age book. So all of these issues take place in between issues from the past. Now we're at the beginning of Excalibur, and this is written by Chris Claremont. It's by Scott Eaton, Lorenzo Ruggiero, and Rochelle Rosenberg. And it's right after the events of Mutant Massacre, where the world thinks the X-Men are killed. And it's cool to see them bring in Mystique and Destiny in here, who are playing such major roles in 10 Lives, 10 Deaths of Wolverine and in Hoxpox in general. So, these have all been, like, I think X-Men classics. They're inserting a little story in between these other stories, and it feels natural and organic. And speaking of which, we have 10 Lives of Wolverine. Issue number 4 is up next. This one's by Benjamin Percy. He's joined by Joshua Cassara, Federico Vincentini, and Frank Martin. All right, so they're starting to get me a little bit. I mean, I dug this issue. This is the one where Wolverine is being helped by Professor X and Jean Grey, using Cerebro, going to key moments of his life to stop Omega Red, who's going through the timeline, who's trying to attack Professor X. So the first panels were in the Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X storyline stuff, and Wolverine's stuck in his body, and he can't move, and the scientist is Omega Red. Super cool stuff, man. Then jumping to the other arcs where he's on the team with Sabretooth and Maverick, and jumping to wartime. So just basically like chasing each other throughout time to prevent Omega Red from killing Professor X. It's pretty dope. And then you go over to 10 Deaths of Wolverine. We're on issue 4 as well, which is also written by Benjamin Percy. Same with Federico Vincentini, but they're joined by Dijo Lima. This one's completely different. I mean, we find out who this character on the cover is. I don't know if I really want to spoil it or not. Has to deal with the Phalanx, which is dope, kind of tying that into a 90s X-Men storyline. And this one is cool. It's like Days of Future Past stuff. It's the Wolverine from the end of time and trying to prevent what's happening here with Moira McTaggart, with Destiny, with Mystique, to prevent Days of Future Past. So a lot of interesting stuff. Moira McTaggart, she's got stage 4 cancer. Her mutant ability to respawn essentially is not going to work once she dies. So big stakes, and it's pretty fun. Moving on, we have Venom issue 6 by Ron V, Hitch, Curry, and Sinclair. Venom, I haven't really liked the direction that they've gone since the Donny Cates run. I don't know, Donny Cates to me is just so exciting. And this one, the tone changes a little bit. It's serious, but I mean, Donny Cates does serious too, and it works. This one makes sense that it's focusing around Dylan Brock. We're not really focusing on Eddie too much. Dylan's got symbiotes out the yin-yang. He got Venom, he got Sleeper. I'm sure he's got a few more up his sleeve. But basically, Venom working with Dylan and starting to intervene and trying to be a hero and finding that balance between lethal and protector. And that's what's going on in this issue. It's starting to pick up the pace a little bit, and I've liked it more and more. This was probably the stronger issue of this run so far. So sticking with it. Love the character. Love the creative team. We'll see where it goes. And then we have Devil's Reign issue 5 of 6 by Zdarsky, Tichetto, and Menez. I feel like this got spoiled in last week's issue of Daredevil, but I like everything about Devil's Reign except for the Dr. Octopus stuff. The Doc Ox from the different multiverses with the Hulk and the Wolverine, that's just super whack. I love the Kingpin interaction with Matt Murdock at Matt Murdock's house and how that went down, getting his memory back, remembering who Daredevil is. it was a good issue, man. It really had me like jaw dropped at the end of it. All right, guys. So second to last book, Thor 23 by Donny Cates, Nick Klein, and Matt Wilson, which almost got pick of the week. I love this. This was back to the Black Winter, Galactus, epic scale scope that Donny was doing with Thor when he first grabbed a hold of this character. The final showdown with Mjolnir. I feel like Donny Cates had to ask permission. Like, hey guys, I want to do this. Is it okay? Big changes and big big implications for the future with what happened with Thor here, which is awesome. It's big. It's bombastic. The artwork was amazing as always. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, superheroes on the shelf right now. But it didn't get my pick of the week because this book got my pick of the week. But before I get into it, I'm not going to be live on Whatnot this Wednesday, but Whatnot Wednesday is still full in effect, man. 8 hours of auctions with Comic Tom and the rest of the crew, starting at 2 p.m. Pacific. Make sure to go show them some love, and I'll be back the following Wednesday with an Omnibus and Collected Edition only sale. It's going to be crazy. It's my last Omnibus sale of this little mini purge that I'm doing. It's going to be broken down into a few parts, but the first part will be that following Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you haven't yet, make sure to download Whatnot. Follow me. Use the link in the description of this video. You'll get a $10 credit that you can use towards your first purchase with anybody, and I'll get a $10 referral as well. And come join us, man. It's crazy fun. Now, back to that pick of the week. I can't believe this. I skipped a Dark Reign tie-in. But I read Dark Reign, Moon Knight, issue number 1 by Jed MacKay, by Sabatini and Lowridge, and it blew me away. It was amazing. It felt very much like Rorschach in The Watchmen. You could see that he's in this jail cell. You know, we think he got thrown in jail because of the mask vigilante protocol that Mayor Fisk has put in effect during this whole Devil's Reign thing. But, you know, I don't want to give it away, but that's not necessarily the case. The motives and the reasons why Moon Knight's there and how frightening he is. I mean, think about Batman. Batman's supposed to instill fear into criminals. Moon Knight does that to the fullest extent here, and then he backs it up as well. It was just such an adrenaline-filled issue that I loved every panel of. Self-contained, which Jed MacKay has been doing a great job on doing on the regular ongoing right now. This was the best Moon Knight I've read out of anything out of that ongoing series, or man, I don't know if I want to say any other Moon Knight stuff that I've read so far, but it's up there, man. It was a great issue. Definitely deserved pick of the week. Pick it up and read it. You don't really need it to tie into the main story. It's just what's going on with Moon Knight while this is going on, and this is even more kind of self-contained than that. So that's this week's comics, guys. Let me know what your favorites were in the comments down below. Hit me with that pick of the week, and catch you guys next time. Stay minty fresh. Peace.